Welcome to today's yoga question. I'm Lizzie Lasater. Answering our question today is Judith Hanson Lasater. Hi, Mama.
Hi, Lizzie. Glad to see you all.
Okay, what are we doing in yoga practice that is actually causing our lower back pain?
What we're doing is not paying attention to this principle that all movement, I know it's a bold statement, but I'm a bold person. All movement originates from the pelvis. It is the driver of locomotion of everything we do. Like right now, if you just shift in your seat in any direction, thinking of your lower back, your sacroiliac joint, your hip joints, everybody follows this intention of the pelvis. So the principle first for the lower back is, what is the position of my pelvis? If you sit to meditate and you turn your pelvis posterior tilt backwards, your entire vertebral column collapses. It rounds, not in a healthy way, because there is healthy rounding in yoga. So it affects the organs, it affects the diaphragm. When you roll back with the pelvis, it affects your ability to breathe well. So that's the first thing to think about in the health of your lower back, is to ask yourself, what is the position of my pelvis right now?
Yeah, and understanding that principle that
yes, instead of thinking of trying to move the lumbar spine, think of moving the pot out of which the spine grows, moving the pelvis first.
Okay, so give us an example or two of movements that are actually harming us that are commonly taught in yoga.
Well, one of my least favorite ones, my favorite least favorite one is tucking your tailbone and standing. The vertebral column is arranged in what's called normal curves to distinguish it from being a scoliosis, a considered pathological curve in the vertebral column, which is a sideways curve. The bones are shaped, the discs between them, the cushions between them are shaped in such a way as to create these curves, which gives it more resilience and more freedom than if it were just completely straight. And so the lumbar spine, and I happen to have one.
Of course she does, physical therapist.
Yes, the lumbar spine is in a curve that arches in the back, and then it is most stable. Now, too much, of course, but it's very rare in adults that people have too much because they sit all the time, especially in Western cultures. So standing in Tadasana with a normal lumbar curve allows the front of the spine. You have the body and you have the disc in between the body. And when you stand tucked, you compress the discs and you push them posterior lateral in a direction like that, which causes them to press on the nerve. And that can be a cause of sciatica, which you don't want to have. So learn to stand in the normal curves, comes from the position of the pelvis and the way it sits on the femurs.
So, in other words, you're saying that all this emphasis on lengthening the tailbone or tucking the tailbone in standing poses could actually be creating lower back pain or inflaming lower back pain.
All right, let me give you an example with the neck, the cervical spine, which will elucidate this point. The cervical spine has the same kind of curve as the lumbar. It's concave on the back, right? So we're going to work with the neck. Sit now with your head directly over your body. Put your hand on the back of your neck. Now, if your pubic bone is rolling down and sitting and you have a lumbar curve, your neck is completely soft. Yes? Now drop your chin and take the head very slightly forward. What happens to the muscles in the back? They contract. Do you feel okay, so this is the irony of when you tuck the tailbone in Tadasana, the back muscles constrict because, let me show you, I'm excited. Let me show you this.
She's getting the spine again.
Is that when you bend forward, you open the back side of the spine, you put more weight here, you compress the front of the disc, as we said, but you take away this connection in the back. So you have less stability and more weight on the disc. This is not a good thing. It doesn't. Okay, it does the opposite. Yeah. You felt it in your.
Yeah, I felt it in my neck. So let's jump to a second example before we close today. What about twisting, like seated twists? There's often the cue to anchor our sit bones in seated twists.
This can create sacroiliac pain. Here you have your pelvis and your sacrum in between. So the sacrum, I like to say, has an identity crisis. It's partly attached to the lumbar spine, so it's partly vertebral, but it's also attached to the pelvis. So if you do a twist where you hold your pelvis still and then you put your arm across your knee, or how, in those poses of twisting, you begin to pull the sacrum forward on that side while holding the pelvis still and separating and straining the sacroiliac ligaments, pulling it apart. The sacroiliac joint is a joint of stability, not mobility. So if you turn the whole pelvis together around the hip joints, originating the movement from the pelvis, you don't separate or strain the articulation, the coming together of the sacrum and the ilium, and much less likely to get sacroiliac pain. I cannot tell you the numbers of people, immodestly, let me say, who I've helped get rid of their sacroiliac joint by just showing them how to turn the pelvis in a twist. It's those two things, the standing, tucking, and the twisting, stabilizing. Instead of stabilizing in the bent knee of the twist, in the bent leg of the twist, stabilizing in the pelvis is going to cause potential problems. Maybe not the first time or the 10th time, but eventually it will catch up with you. The sacroiliac joint needs stability, not mobility.
So good. Okay, I'm going to tell everyone where they can find you, Mom. This is Mama's website. Judith.yoga is a shortcut. If you type that into your browser, you're going to get to her website. You can get on her newsletter, find out everything she's doing. Likewise, my shortcut is Lizzie.yoga, Lizzie.yoga will take you straight there. And all of our courses live here at www.lasater.yoga. That's also the place you should go to and sign up for our free new moon newsletter. Comes out once a month with a free full-length yoga class on the new moon. And what's so great about that is you get to be in the loop and informed when we launch and bring out new courses, one of which is going to be about your lower back, coming very soon. So we hope you will join the newsletter, and we hope you'll visit our websites, and we're sending you lots of love and a big namaste across the sky.
May we live like the lotus at home in the muddy water. Namaste.